skiing for women. And what a lineup we have. Some international players. And once they get onto this ice, they are going to blitz us with this action. There's a look at the team's lineup. We're going to be starting off with Himachal. So Anjali and Urlisha, followed by ITBP, a huge contingent: Tarang, Anjana, Kiran, Khushi, Pooja and Sapna. That's not all. We have a lot more coming up. Beautiful, stunning views in the background. So a lineup of 16. You will then have ITBP Selma. Watch out for her. She's a very strong skier. CRPF's Hiral as well. Sejal Patel, Renu Danu, Kajal, Bhavani, of course, is going to be the favorite for this event, followed by Geeta and Yotika. Watch out for Bhavani from Karnataka. ITBP's Prince Kumari, Ragini, Nazira and Bhavna. A few years back, a pre-COVID era, and what a vision of Fit India, championed by our own Prime Minister. And since then, it's been a narrative of a sports revolution across the country, flagging off the Nordic 10K for women. First off the blocks, Tarang of ITBP. It's going to be tough going there, needing the edging on those skis to make her way up the hill that we were talking about on that map, that initial slope that needs to make you climb up all the way, and then from there you need to take the level. And that's Anjana Devi of ITBP teammates, the 27-year-old, the senior amongst the two. And she's off the blocks now, fighting her way through the falling snow. ITBP's Anjana Devi. And that's the view that she'll be having as well, looking at the back of Tarang. Kiran now. ITBP's Kiran again. And ITBP have a strong contingent in this particular competitions. 9 skiers part of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police. 5 representatives from Himachal Pradesh. We have 1 representative from Ladakh, Nazira Bano. And of course, Karnataka's trailblazing star, Bhavani Tekara Manjula. That's Kusum Rana. Watch out for her as well. She's also a very talented skier, and you can see the style that she's using immediately off the blocks with that striding technique. And I'm pretty sure that she's going to overtake Anjana very soon. Off the starting block now, Selma Soreng, the 25-year-old, already on the podium yesterday. So today is going to be yet another challenge in the 5K race. It was a lot more about speed, but in the 10K, it's also going to be about perseverance. It's going to be about stamina. And that's going to be an interesting battle. But you need to remember that 10 kilometers is not about speed. It's about perseverance. It's about stamina. It's about the cardio that you've done, about the miles that you've clocked. And a beautiful view of the map as the two skiers battle the conditions. Kusum Rana, followed by Kiran behind her. Tarang of ITBP. There you can see the technique, that uphill climb technique, leveraging the power of your arms, at the same time trying to push through with those legs, cutting into the ice. And while you do all that, you're also trying to create some drift for yourself, some momentum for yourself, that it can help you go through, just as the snow keeps coming down. Beautiful view of the technique that it takes for Nordic skiing, especially downhill. And of course, these skiers are not as fast as those that you see on alpine skiing. The angles itself are not as steep. Pooja Bhatt approaching the peak of the slope. There you can see not tucking herself in too much, which means that she doesn't want to get too much speed and trying to rest as much as possible. Sometimes when you tuck in a lot, it takes a lot out of your thighs, your quadriceps as well. So trying to conserve as much energy as possible. Nordic skiing is all about blending in with the elements, and we have some of these wild dogs. Also very much part of the serene beauty that is Gulmarg. Right down the slope, then they take that left turn and then slowly once again stride in as they approach the start and finish line to complete one rotation across this particular turf. Now you can see you cross the church and then you get onto that slope, brings you down from that point. It's a nice slope, and then again you kind of make your way at a much slower pace back onto the start finish point. And you need to do multiple rounds, of course. Approaching very close to the angles where we are at the commentator's box on the right of Anjana Devi. Anjana getting past Tarang and crossing the start finish line ahead of her. That's a clear marker that you're making progress, because the number of skiers that you can cross is a sure shot calculation that that many positions you have made up. Of course, the rest depends on the time that you clock eventually at the end of 10 kilometers. But you know for sure that if I've crossed 5 people, definitely I'm ahead of 5 people. Kusum Rana, another strong contestant. Sejal there. She had a tough race yesterday in the 5 kilometer. And in the 10 kilometer in much more difficult conditions, at least from in terms of a perspective of the weather. When you talk about the surface, of course, I think this powdery surface is a much more a better surface for them. So far, the best times being clocked amongst those who have, of course, taken a full lap. We have Kusum Rana leading, but let's wait and see, because we will have Bhavani, and once Bhavani comes in, you'll get a fair idea of where each of these skiers stand. Just waiting for these skiers to complete their first rotation on this circuit. Anjana Devi there, feeling the exhaustion. Just trying to rest as much as possible. You know someone is tired when you have those arms close to your knees. And that brief respite on the slope takes you into this segment wherein you need to once again plow your way. It's 10 and 6 completing their first lap. Selma Soreng, yet another strong contender. Will be interesting to see what her time is like. Sapna, of course, somehow managing to keep pace with Selma as well. This is that climbing section that we talk about soon after the finish line. Going to climb up. Testament to that hoarding that you can see at the back. Fit India. That wonderful mantra that has been transformational across this country. A mantra for the youth, a mantra for the youngsters to take to heart, and what a difference it has made, especially when you get that sporting push right from the top. And then we have 6 completions of the first lap so far, and the lap time looks like 11 and a half minutes as an average, and Kusum still holding pole position. These beautiful pictures being brought to you from the golf course here in Gulmarg. Of course, the Jammu and Kashmir government was gearing up to host this world-class winter sports experience, and these were, of course, planned initially to be held in the last weeks of February, but then we didn't quite have the amount of snow that we required, and then some fresh snowfall that came in about the 2nd or 3rd of March meant that these games were possible, and then today's snow as well, giving us some brilliant conditions, ideal conditions for these games. Hiral there on your screens, just about working her way up the incline. That's a strong testament, a contrast there from what Hiral was experiencing. And the downhill drift that you can enjoy. Two sides of Nordic skiing, and that's the beauty of Nordic skiing. It involves skiing on flat or fairly gently rolling terrain, and the poles that you use are a lot more different than what you use in alpine. The kind of propulsion that you require in Nordic skiing is also fairly different. The town of Gulmarg also has a rich and varied history, and one of the most highest human habitations, along with, of course, Leh Ladakh. The region historically was always an important center for trade and commerce during the ancient times, with merchants and travelers passing through this area. Many feel that it was in fact part of an alternate Silk Route as well. In the 16th century, Gulmarg was also a popular resort town for the emperors in Delhi to visit and escape the heat that Delhi would have. Gulmarg, known for the famous Gulmarg gondola built by the emperors in the 16th century. And of course, as time went by in the British colonial era, Gulmarg became an important popular hill station for British officers as well. And right now, it's a tourist destination that everyone desires to be, especially on the weeks when you have such brilliant snowfall. Right now, it's a destination for some of the best skiers and athletes from across the country as part of the Khelo India Winter Games. What a set of competitions we've been having so far in the Alpine yesterday, and of course in the Nordic 5K and 10K yesterday as well. Today, right now, it's all about the 10K Nordic skiing for women. Pooja Bhatt there on your screens, followed by Tarang behind her. A good job done by Pooja Bhatt as well. Clearly tells you that she's ahead of 80% of the other skiers. And at the end of lap 2, the leader is still the same. We have Kusum Rana and Selma Soreng in the second position. And this is the midway point. Kusum, Selma and Pooja Bhatt. And then of course we had Anjana, Sapna and Bhavani bringing up the next three. So we need some movement from Bhavani. She has about 20 seconds to make up. Can she make it up in lap 3 and lap 4? But what a race by Kusum, leading from the front. She took the lead in the first lap itself and then maintaining that lead in the second lap too. This 10-kilometer run in the Nordic skiing discipline becomes an extension of what you witness in the 5-kilometer runs, especially at the domestic level, because you have the same skiers with similar techniques on the same course, of course. And it is all about the lung capacity that you've built, your stamina, your preparation. And that's all combined with the performance on the day, how you're feeling when you wake up, and the processes and the plans that you set for yourself. As we take a look at that route map again, and that's the slope we're talking about. You get into that slope, find your way into a couple of those bends, and then slowly take that left and make it onto the start and finish straight. 9 and 10 in action right now. And the important number to watch there is 10, because that is Selma Soreng overtaking Tarang, lapping her in fact. So Kusum Rana having lapped Tarang, and now Selma Soreng lapping Tarang as well. So this is the lap 3, the best lap done by Selma Soreng. Kusum Rana not too far away after the first 2 laps were her laps. This one a little slower, allowing Selma to come in. Anjana Devi with a brilliant performance as well, right throughout this race, with a beautiful time in lap 3, 13 minutes and 9 seconds. Bhavani taking her fading a bit, but consistent nonetheless. She's been around the 13:42 mark right throughout the first 3 laps. Can she make up this time in lap 4? That's going to be the question. Otherwise, we are going to have a new gold medalist in Nordic 10K skiing. So far, we've had 1 medal in the women's division, and that's gone to Bhavani. But in lap 2 and lap 3, the story has changed slightly between the 2 laps, and in lap 4, the do or die lap, that's when the decisions will be made. The techniques that you use, the strategy that you plan, the tactics that come into play. When do you accelerate? When do you slow down? How much do you trust yourself? How much do you believe your compatriots will fade away? Beautiful views, the clouds engulfing the mountains all around, as Sapna of ITBP battles the falling snow. Approaching the marker for that left turn. Ragni Negi. The beautiful perspective of this overall course as Ragni strides through. We've been talking so much about Gulmarg, enjoying Gulmarg over the last 2 days that we've been here. Just the wonderful people that we've met, the hospitality at the places that we guys are staying at, and of course the conditions here today improving with this light snow. Best conditions possible for Nordic skiing. Beautiful perspective of this wonderful town. Right on the top, Sapna of ITBP. drone shots bringing out the true beauty and the perspective of this course. Nestled between these hills, the birdies and the tees, the tee-offs, the drives, the bunkers, making way for some fantastic Nordic skiing action. This is once again a confirmation of the lap 3 times. Selma Sureng with the best lap, followed by Kusum Rana and Anjana Devi. Difficult conditions for the skiers. And she will take a moment to get up. Approaching Hiril there in the foreground. Committed, head down, focused, determined. She has that challenge in front of her and she is committed to complete. And you can see these two different kinds of poles. You have the neon poles and these ones which are dark and black. The neon ones that you can see, the fluorescent orange, these ones tend to be the fiber poles and a little lighter than the steel or the aluminum poles that you will get. And of course, over 10 kilometers, even a few hundred grams would make a huge difference to these skiers. But of course, there is a compromise, a lot more brittle, these poles, and can easily snap with the slightest of pressure. So you need to use them wisely, leverage them right, whereas, of course, the steel poles are a lot more forgiving. Kiran on your screens, battling the conditions. Difficult conditions for the skiers, and that's the challenge that they are facing. We've already seen a couple of dropouts as we are approaching an hour of skiing in these conditions. Can you imagine it? Standing outside in these conditions is a task in itself, but to be skiing in competition in this weather as the snow comes down heavy. Selma Soreng completing lap 4 there on your screens, and we will wait for the final time for the result. This is the last rotation for the leaders especially. Watch closely. Number 7 Kusum Rana, Selma Soreng number 10, Anjana Devi number 5 as well has had a great race, and of course perhaps with still an outside chance Bhavani Tekara Manjula. Pooja Bhatt had a good race as well. So those are the times that will be in consideration. Absolutely exhausted. Pooja Bhatt just crossing the finish line and just crashing onto the floor. Exhausted, drained, not just physically but also mentally, what it takes these conditions out of the skiers. An absolute testament to their spirit, to the heart that they have shown today. And she wraps up. Sapna of ITBP still going strong. Sejal Patel. ये गलत है यार, ये हटाओ, ये गलत है, हटाओ 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 हटाओ, गलत है। पहले का टाइमिंग देखो, पूजा लिखा हुआ है, 13 मिनट लिखा है। Sejal Patel, followed by number 11 Kiran, still on the course, still approaching this finish line. And beautiful picture there, a perspective that you get. You know what your destination is. And there we have the confirmation so far of the final times that have been clocked in. Kusum Rana so far leading 49.36 seconds. The Selma Soreng with 50 minutes. Anjana Devi 3, Pooja Bhatt 4, Tarang with 5. Remains to be seen what the scoreline will be, or the timings will be, as we come to the second set of the skiers. You will have Sejal, you will have Renu Danu, Bhavani Tekra, of course, Geeta Devi, Bhavna. Down the slope they come. Business end of the 10k race. Who is it going to be? What is the time that is going to get you that gold medal? That sense of victory, that moment when you're going to clinch that brightest of medals. Slowly and steadily making their way through across that finish line. And the challenge of Nordic skiing is when you come across that finish line, you don't really know how well you've done, because you know the time that you have set for yourself, perhaps, especially if you're wearing an instrument that's clocking your time, which you don't really know how well your compatriots have done and have you beaten that time or not. So to a large extent, it's a race, it's a fight against yourself. Selma bringing up a closure to this particular event. Still on the turf, and I really appreciate her determination and dedication, Sejal Patel, to finish, because there were a lot more skiers there who had completed 3 laps, but they just decided to stop. And right now, Sejal, with the determination, the dedication, the desire to complete 4 laps, a true testament to sportsman spirit, to the spirit that she has within her. And I'm sure those around her will applaud that achievement. It takes courage knowing that you are behind the group, but yet committed to finish a race. And with that, we wrap up. All the participants still on the ice. And from there, we will look at the final results, the final timings as they come from the technical table.